Hi, welcome back to the show. So this game is very popular right now. It's by compassgames. It's enemyactionardennes. It's the Battle of the Bulge. It's designed by John Butterfield, who has designed a lot of the solo player war games out there. So he's got quite a reputation for really good solo mechanics. So this is an operational strategic with some tactics. If I'm getting all my wargamer terms right, it's the Battle of the Bulge. It's actually kind of 3 games in one. You've got a 2-player. One player is the Axis, one player is the Allies, and they play. And then there's a German solo game, and there's the Allied or American solo game. So let's get to it here. So open up the box art. Like I said, it came off eBay, so it was already sealed, but I was pleasantly surprised to find that the cards are still shrink wrapped. It's got quite a lot of cards in here, and it's a card driven and chit pull driven game. You don't really have deck building. You have so many cards you get to use every day, and then it's built around each day. This battle is so well documented that the cards and everything are set up around, this division moved here and did these kind of things. So if you get that card, you can recreate some of it historically. Or if you get different cards, you might be able to find, I guess the point is you might be able to find the secret route, or you might be able to get the dice to change the course of history and have the Germans make it all the way out of the forest and into where they wanted to go, Antwerp and everything. Or, maybe playing on the Allied side, maybe you'll stop them and they won't even get the bulge formed and you'll crush them a week in instead of a month and save. How many people died in this battle? Something like 50,000 Germans, I think, or maybe 50,000 was the total. I'll have to check and I'll put up the stats here. But I mean, it was a crazy battle that lasted basically a month. A lot of people think, oh, it was a battle, it lasted 2 or 3 days. No. Started December 16th, and it officially ended well into January. January 25th, I think, was when it was kind of officially done and everybody was moved out. But there was about 3 solid weeks of some insane combat, and it was some of the Germans that were brought in just for the battle had spent all their career over on the Eastern Front, so they brought that kind of almost barbaric wholesale slaughter to the Western Front. I also have a kind of a personal link. The Battle of the Bulge, my grandfather was in the 9th Infantry in the 60th Infantry Regiment, and he fought in the Hurtgen Forest, and then of course in the Battle of the Bulge, and from there he went all the way into Berlin. So I'm curious to see. I want to find his division token in here. That'd be kind of neat. This game is really intimidating for me since I'm new to war games, and I definitely like the individual units, like squad-based tactics, like Kill Team and Warhammer, or like Tank Duel and Interceptor Ace, where you're one guy in his vehicle, his plane or his tank, fighting against other guys in their vehicles or tanks. So doing this high-level operational general kind of stuff is pretty intimidating me, and this game is huge. Hundreds and hundreds of tokens that you set up. What else is in here? I'm rambling. Catalog from 2015, 2016 for Compass Games, so that's kind of neat to look through. A 10-sided dice. And then here we go, is where you kind of get into it, and you've got 3 rule books. The German solo rules. Now look at this. This is it's a really nice manual. Compass Games, I'm really liking their games. The quality of the components is really good. Them and GMT have really impressed me with their boxes, their maps, their boards, their tokens, their books. So this is just the German rules, right? German solo play, and there's 68 pages for the Germans. Allied solo rules, another one, same thing. 72 pages, and then the 2-player rules is a mere 52. But what is that all together? I mean, you're talking 150 plus pages of rules. People have said that this game, once you get the hang of it and you're a few turns down, it all kind of clicks. And with the cards and the way the map is set up, it has all these icons to kind of let you know. And the AI system, I guess there's a flow chart in here that kind of tells you in this situation, And the chit pull system for combat, I was watching some videos on that. It looks really cool. So here's the maps. And same thing, you've got 3 maps. This is the German solo game, so that's a pretty good, what is that, about a 3x2 map. And, the Allied solo, and then the 2-player game. Yeah, here's the Allied solo. So let's take a look at one of these here. Here's your calendar up here where it starts, and it tells you what kind of stuff goes on those days. Like, for example, one thing I know from watching the video was you've got the river here. The Germans start along West Wall, along the Siegfried line, and there's a river right here. And, of course, there's rivers all throughout the forest. And so there's all these bridges. Well, on the first day of the attack, December 16th, you don't have to look for bridges being blown up because, of course, the Americans didn't know the Germans were coming. Why would they blow the bridges, right? So all the bridges are intact. But the weather was crappy, the roads were crappy, they were muddy, they were icy. So only one unit, game-wise, only one unit can cross a bridge per round or a turn. Apparently that's a common mistake, is people get a little excited and they start moving all these Germans in, and it's like, well, you moved way too fast because of all the traffic jams. All the tanks getting stuck and all the horses getting stuck and everything. All these arrows too. I know the blue arrows are where units will retreat out of. Kind of like that's the favorable route. Victory points are what you're trying to earn. Both sides have to earn so many points to win. Yellow numbers on the German solo map, that's how badly the Americans want to hold Houghton. It's a 5. They really want to hold on to that. So, that figures into the AI system of what will they do. So, they're not gonna fight to the death over just some random empty field, but they'll fight to the death over Bastogne, right? And that's 6, and it's worth 5 BP. Let's look at the Allied solo map. See if that kind of backs up here. So here's the Allied. Yeah, see, look, you don't have those. You've got some of the numbers still, but they don't have the yellow splat. I also don't see all the blue. You don't have all the blue retreat icons, which is interesting because I guess the Germans didn't really retreat. They ran out of fuel, ran out of ammo, and got either wiped out or taken prisoner. So the maps already look differently. I've also learned that there's all these numbers, right? And I guess it will tell you either on the token itself or when you're setting everything up. That's how you know what unit goes where. It'll say the 9th Infantry goes here, on 0706 or whatever. So you got your calendar, victory point tracker. You put all these units all over this thing. Your draw piles, and there's more as far as those draw piles go. What else we got in here? Allied System Intelligence for the German solo. So it's a little two-page key rule summary. Allied System Events and Tactics for German solo. Combat procedures, hits and step losses, assigning hits to defending Allied units. So these are player aids. Here's the 2-player Allied solo, Allied solo, Allied solo, Allied solo, all games. Here's just a card and unit reference. Yeah, here's the different terrain types: clear, broken, woods, forest, road, town, city, west wall, unbridged river, hex side, bridge, hex side. All kinds of setups. German solo, here you go. Here's your card, draw piles and everything that you set up. And then here's, as I've said in a few others, here's my favorite part, the tokens. I like to punch the tokens. So this was, like I said, this was nice that it came unpunched, card still sealed, so it's in perfect condition. The Germans have to go for the fuel. Here's a bridge control, which way the bridge is controlled, exits, your little day marker for your calendar, and of course all the different types. I know the box with the X in it, that's infantry. Obviously a tank is armor, and then where's one? The armored car here is your recon and your scouts. What do they call it? They call them IPs, improved positions, where the Corps of Engineers dug them in. They got bunkers and ditches and sandbags and foxholes. The chits that you pull. And so, like, here's the ratio I was talking about, a 1.5 to 1 ratio. The attackers get 1 attack, and the defenders take, maybe that's damage. For city, defenders -1. Like city, town, attackers get 1, defenders lose 1. But you pull these out, and it has a system of how many you figure out that you need to pull, like from a minimum of 2 to like 7 or 8. You learn to decipher all this stuff that's on here. Like this one I think is mechanized infantry because it's got infantry on there. 4 or 5 is their movement. I forget already. But anyways, there's a lot of information on these tokens. The little dots It's kind of like, is there steps? How far they can move, what units they're in, all kinds of stuff. Anyways, it's quite fascinating. It does have a mod on Tabletop Sim, and just setting up that big map, and I mean, when you set it up, it's just covered with these tokens. I might start with it in Tabletop Simulator, kind of get the hang of it first before I start punching all these tokens. We'll see. I'm excited about it. Like I said, my grandfather fought in it, and I've spent the last couple of months reading a pretty dry book, but a very, very detailed book on the battle and all the details and everything. So I'm very excited to give it a try, see if I can learn this style of game compared to some of the more action-based games that are out there. This is definitely one where looks like you spend a lot of time thinking, plotting out your move, thinking over all the numbers of, you know, who's going to do what when and on what day, and how far they can go, and how you're going to get around that one unit or that roadblock, or how you're going to get over that river. So it looks like a lot of fun. So that is Compass Games Enemy Action Ardennes, about the Battle of the Bulge. Check it out. It's if you're into war games, it's supposed to be one of the best. Thanks for checking it out with me, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.